Hello and welcome to the Work for Change podcast. My name is Jean.
Spelled like Gene?
Spelled like Gene,
My name
but
is...
like the denim kind.
Yeah. What other kind of Gene is there?
Like
oh, I guess with like a G.
Yeah.
human jeans.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's not how it's spelled.
No,
That'd be weird.
I don't. No, mine's like denim.
And my name's John, not spelled normal.
Well,
And we're joined with Sam.
Sam, that's me.
Spelled-
I'm here today.
How do you spell it?
I'm not Sam, spelled like
We
Sam.
need to know. It's very important. Is there a silent H in there?
Yeah.
No, you started doing that, saying my name is Sam, spelled
Sam
like
spelled
Sam.
like Sam. Yeah, and people like it.
So, welcome to the John is the Third Wheel podcast episode.
Don't even. Don't even.
Yeah, so this is episode 10. Episode 10 of the Work for Change podcast, and we're really excited that you guys are here.
Yeah, this is the way that we upload on Tuesdays, and so this Tuesday is the first of the year. It's really exciting. Welcome to 2019. If no
Woo.
one has told you that yet,
Yep.
we are
Hopefully-
the first people to tell you.
Hopefully we're not the first people to tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you like wake up and listen to this podcast
Yeah, that's
right
true.
away. Then
That's true. If that's the first thing you do, then we appreciate you very
yeah,
much.
Yeah, thank you so
That's
much.
awesome.
I can't believe it's going to be 2019. Or it is 2019 when they're listening to this.
I know.
Yeah, it's weird.
So, barring some apocalypse happening in between now and 2019, they'll be listening to this podcast and
Yep.
welcome.
Welcome to 2019.
Yeah, let us know. Is Trump still president?
Yeah. Are there still are there like flying cars yet? I really need to know
I
because the
know.
Jetsons made me feel like there should be flying cars by now.
Oh, yeah.
But I was thinking about it. So flying cars actually are very not like that's not practical at all. Because think about it. So if your car runs out of gas now, all you do is stop. If you're in a flying car and it runs out of gas, you were plummeting to your death because you forgot to put in some gas.
But I think people said the same thing about airplanes. Like when airplanes were becoming commercialized, they're like, well, what happens if you run out of gas? You're just going to kill a whole bunch of people?
Whatever, man.
You
No
know?
way to
So it's
ruin
like
my-
you just have to be, I imagine there'll be like a reserve. That's like, you're in your reserve and now you have to go get gas somewhere.
Yeah,
Or
I would
it's a
hope so.
reserve and then it's like now dropping
Okay.
altitude.
But think, okay, that's a good point. I was gonna say, think about how people are.
Yeah.
We humans are like, oh, you know, I got 30 miles left at least,
Yeah.
and then they're just plummeting to their death.
I like to
Or
get my
like-
gas when I'm like, I have a quarter tank.
Yeah. Oh yeah. See, I don't do that. I get gas when I have 1 mile left. Like my car says how many miles I have left, and I'm like, oh, 3 miles left. All right, time to start driving to the gas station. Hopefully, it's not more than 3 miles away from here.
So
Yeah.
I can get a flying car. You can't.
Yeah, no, I would die. I would 100% die in a flying car.
I actually posted on Instagram a little while ago about how I've been getting gas at like halfway full. And it's just because I hate when my gas light comes on, it's like forcing me to get gas. And it's like another person telling me something I have to do. So it's like I'll get gas halfway full because that was my decision. I made the decision to get gas. No light came on and forced me to do it. And it's just like this small little rebellion I have.
So you're getting gas because you're
Against-
stubborn.
Yes.
I'm getting gas because I want to get gas.
Yeah.
Not because you're telling me to get gas. Car.
Yeah.
Are you still doing that?
Yes.
Good.
100%. Like when I hit halfway or about a quarter tank, it's like, all right, it's time to get gas because I don't want to have that light come on and then feel like now I'm obligated to stop whatever I'm doing and get gas. No, I did it on my own time.
So we should tell people who Sam is, if they don't know.
It's me.
Sam, who are you?
Well, I'm Jean's girlfriend.
There you go.
You're so much more than that.
Yeah, well, that's the
Thank
connection
you.
to the podcast. Jeez, I'm not trying to say that that's all she is.
That's all I am nowadays.
I'm Jean's girlfriend. Great.
All right,
Okay,
great.
so
moving on. You're not going to talk from now on. And no, I'm just kidding.
okay, no, okay. So I do want to talk about who you are
Okay.
because you're my girlfriend.
Oh.
But
Yes, we
I am.
Yeah, I will gladly admit in public. So, like, what's your fitness journey? How'd you get into fitness? How'd you get into CrossFit, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, it's about to be 2019.
Yeah.
So that means I've been.
established that.
We've established
It's
that
actually,
already.
it actually is 2019.
I mean, it is 2019. So I've been doing CrossFit. Started my fitness journey for, I can't do math, 4 years now, because it was one of my New Year's resolutions.
But what was that your first fitness? Was CrossFit
Like I would
your
go to
first?
the gym, I would dabble, a little in that,
Were
but
you a
not.
sportser at all, or
I was a sporter.
Yeah, so
No,
you
you
were a
weren't.
sports.
Yes, I was.
You were a cheerleader.
That cheer is a sport.
You were about to get
I know.
all the cheerleaders. Any cheerleader, come for Jean in his comments on his
Hey,
Instagram post.
to be fair, it's like the
To
sport.
be fair, Jean,
the sport of CrossFit is the sport of training for a sport.
that's true.
So, you know what I mean? Like, I'll even say that about CrossFit. Like, cheerleading is cheering for sports. CrossFit is the sport of
We
training
did
to do
competitions.
sports. Yeah.
That's
I
true.
mean, just like there's CrossFit competitions.
That's true. Okay,
Yeah.
well, moving on. So you
Okay.
did cheer.
Okay, so starting back in the day,
Back in the
I
day.
did gymnastics and tumbling
Okay.
and cheer and softball. I dabbled a little bit in tennis.
Did a little dabble in the tennis.
So
Okay.
I was a sporter.
All right.
And then, after you graduate from high school, you're not really doing much. I try to go to the gym in college, like try it out. And then, you just don't stick to it. And so then I was like, I am going to start something and I'm going to stick to it. And so then I wanted to try CrossFit. I don't even remember how I saw CrossFit. I was just like, I'm going to do it. And so then I emailed the coach of this gym near my house. And I was like, can I come in on January 5th? And he was like, you can come in anytime. And I was like, no, I'll be there January 5th.
But it's very important for people to know when you sent that email.
I emailed him in November.
I'm going to be there in 4 months, all right?
Yeah, he thought it was really weird. And I wanted to go on January 5th because it was the first Monday of 2015. And so that's how I got into CrossFit. I just said I was going to go 3 times a week, and then now I go every day.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, a lot of the times what I say when I'm talking about my CrossFit story and the CrossFit story I talked about here on this podcast is that on YouTube, I was introduced to a video by Lauren Fisher.
Mm-hmm.
Because that video because I watched that video, now every other video in my recommended feed was CrossFit athletes, and so I ended up getting indoctrinated in CrossFit before I even did my first class. What a lot of people don't know, what I don't say because it's just a long story.
Yeah, I
don't
never
really-
get any credit.
Yeah, is that I met you at my brother's bodybuilding show.
Our body.
Our
show.
bodybuilding
Oh, yeah.
show.
I went to support my brother. You walked up to the group because you knew someone in the group,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, hello, lady. And everyone's like, oh, it's because you saw her in a bikini. It's like, no, she's wearing a robe, bro. First of all, she was totally clothed. That's not what it was.
You were not lusting over her.
Yeah, exactly. I was not looking at you lustfully. The Lord needeth not scorn me upon that moment. But
I thought to myself, what a beautiful heart that young lady.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Really? That's what you thought?
I would love to court mine.
Yeah, with the Starbucks in betwixt my legs. I just okay, so finish that.
Spit out my coffee everywhere.
So
And everything's ruined because there's coffee over.
yeah. So then what happened is John David, my brother, shouted me out. She followed me during that
Because I'm a
shout out.
Because she was a follower of mine.
Yeah.
You can't miss
All
that.
right.
So so I basically am the reason you guys got together. I'm just gonna take credit for it now. No,
Okay.
but so Sam was a follower of mine
Yeah.
before we did the show, and then you were like, "Oh my gosh, she's doing the show with me," and then you followed along from the videos I was. Putting
Yeah,
out.
all the YouTube, following the show,
And
the
you
prep.
would watch on the Stair Stepper his videos.
Yeah.
That he would make
Watch.
while
While I was
you
doing all
were
my
doing
cardio and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool. So you ended up finding him because I was like, "Go follow my brother." And
Yeah,
you're
I
like,
was
"I'm
like-
a creep." Okay,
I was
I'll do
like,
the same
okay, I'll listen. I'll do it. Whatever you say.
So I posted a video of my brother. I posted a picture with my brother and me supporting him at the bodybuilding show, and some girl on Instagram, Sam Hale 10, liked my photo, and I didn't
Yep.
have that many followers, so I'm like, who is this person? So I clicked on the person, and I think I was in the movies with my brother, and I'm like, dude, that's her. That's the girl. And you're like, no way. I'm like, should I message her? And you're like, yeah, go ahead and do it. And so then I
sounds like me because I'm very impatient. So.
yeah. And so then I commented, wow, it's so crazy that you're doing bikini and CrossFit. I've never seen that before. And then you're like, you should come try CrossFit. And then I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and I didn't think you'd actually go.
And then he shows up.
I was like, oh, you're actually here.
Yeah,
Hi.
and you didn't remember my name, so you made me introduce myself to
I
the
know. I was like,
coach.
look at my friend's here.
It's my bucko buddy pal.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, you.
Yeah.
Hey, bud.
And
Thanks
so
for coming.
So that's the long story of how I actually started CrossFit, is that I slid into Sam's DM
There
Yep.
you go, man.
100%.
Never get any credit, but
And
now
then
people know.
Yep. Now people know. Well, I think it's because like I would have joined CrossFit.
Mm-hmm.
You just happen to be.
You were a conduit for
Yeah.
him.
Yeah. Exactly. And so
It's a good word, right?
yeah, you just happened to be the really attractive girl who was doing CrossFit at the same exact time that I was very interested in joining CrossFit.
Mm-hmm. And now you
Yeah.
guys are together.
And now we're dating.
Super
So kids, if you want a girl, slide in the DM.
Slide
Yep.
in the DM. That's how you got to do it now. And it's just how it is.
That's how it is.
So
now.
funny story. I actually used to not like Sam at all
Mm-hmm.
because
It's true.
she was now that I know the backstory, it makes sense. But she was like no boyfriend. I'm not allowed to have a boyfriend. But at the
Mhm.
same time, I'm hearing Jean talk about how much he likes this girl, and he's like, yeah, I want to be her boyfriend, but she keeps saying no. Basically, is the conversations we would have, and then it would be like they were basically together, but for some reason this girl wouldn't. Like in my head, I was like, she won't accept my brother, so I don't like her at all. And it's funny because now we're really close friends, but I remember
yeah.
back in the day, I did not like Sam at all.
And I would be like, your brother doesn't like me.
And then I would be like, no, he does.
Knowing full well
Yeah.
when we talk about her in private, I'm like, I don't like her.
Yeah, I know, but what am I gonna say? No, yeah, he doesn't like you. I'm so sorry. This YouTuber that you followed and all this time,
Yeah.
prep and stuff. Had,
Well, I didn't know that at the time that you were.
That was your biggest fan.
Yeah, I know. Okay, but talking about New Year's and things like that, do you have any New Year's resolutions for 2019? And how do you feel about New Year's resolutions?
Well, I think firstly, we have to start off with the fact that having a New Year's resolution is not stupid. So to everyone out there who's like, oh, it's just a day of the year, like there is something powerful about a new start, a fresh new beginning. Like, and so
It's very powerful.
it's super powerful. And so to all the people who are like hating on it and saying that it's so stupid, it's just another day of the year. Yeah, you're right. It's just another day of the year. But how awesome is it that people want to make changes on this day of the year? And don't be like some like stupid, like don't hate.
Don't be stupid.
Stupid.
Yeah, like, well, just don't hate on it for no reason, you know? Like, who cares if someone wants to change their life on this specific day? Like, who cares? What does it matter to you at all? And so people have all these opinions about things, and they're like, oh, it's so stupid. It's like, if these people want to change their life, be a conduit, be a force of good. Okay, whatever.
Taking my word.
No, be a force for good, and, like, don't just be a freaking hater.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's so, like, cliche or whatever, but, like, people who are criticizing, people who are hating, they're just the people who aren't doing stuff themselves. So they feel they need to tear everyone else down because they're not doing it themselves. So that's what I first want to start off. If you have a New Year's resolution and you're kind of embarrassed about it because you hear people saying, like, making fun of it, you hear people hating on it, like, who gives a flying crap?
What you got to do is roundhouse them right in the face.
100%. and then start your New Year's resolution the
In
next
jail.
year.
In jail.
Yeah, because you're going to be in jail. And
Okay, my
It's
new
really
New Year's
hard.
resolution is get out of jail. That's
I am a proponent of New Year's resolutions, and I do have a couple. Like, I think mine are all the very typical ones. One of them is be better with finances.
Mhm.
That was a little too quick.
praise.
Yes, praise him. But just finances, getting things in order, and then last year was a big one. Like, I remember thinking, like, at this time next year, I want to work for myself, and here I am. Like, I'm working for myself. I hustled and worked hard with multiple jobs to get to this point where now I really do kind of make my own schedule. So,
And you're a lot happier.
I'm a lot happier. Exactly. And so I think for me, it's like solidify that work, make it like now that I'm doing it, it's like, it's a struggle. I want to make it like I'm thriving, and so that's kind of what I'm looking at this year is like, what can I do? What things can I step, where the working, here's what I found, and it doesn't apply to everyone. So take that as it will.
Does anything
But-
ever apply to everyone though?
No. So within a company, there's a ceiling. You can only work so hard to get so high, and then you can't go anymore, right? Like, you can, if you're working at Starbucks, you become a store manager, you can become a regional manager, an area manager, but eventually, like,
You're not going to become the CEO probably.
exactly.
Yeah.
There's only one CEO out of hundreds of thousands of employees, right? But when you're working for yourself, when you're doing that, like, you are your ceiling. You are, like, how hard are you willing to work? How much are you willing to work for it? That is your ceiling. And so just that knowledge of, like, I am my own ceiling and I'm going to work as hard as I can to make that ceiling as high as possible, where I still feel fulfilled. I don't care about making the most money in the world, but I want to be comfortable and I want to feel fulfilled. And that literally is just on me. That's it. I don't have to appeal to anyone. I don't have to play the corporate game. I don't have to do anything like that. Like, that is literally just relies on me. And so, long answer to just say, like, I want to solidify where I am with my placing.
Yeah, I think that's definitely my favorite thing about, being a YouTuber, and I don't like to use the word entrepreneur because I don't think that's what I am, but someone that's self-employed is that I don't have to answer to anybody, but there's good and there's bad, right? Because if you don't have to answer to anybody, a lot of times if you're not somebody that is committed and will work hard, you can like not do anything for 5 days and nobody knows, really, right? Luckily, I've never been there, but there's definitely times where it's exciting, but then for me, I have the personality that I always feel like I'm not doing enough. Always. And the only days that I feel like I am accomplished something is like when I've done 2 workouts, I filmed the whole video, edited that whole thing, done a bunch of emails, all this stuff that is just not sustainable. I can't do that every day. And so I'm still learning how to, balance things and be like, it's okay if you, didn't film a video today and edit it and get it all done and get it all ready for YouTube. I kind of relate to that. Now, I want to talk about my New Year's resolutions and like ones in the past that people might not know about and ones that I've completed and ones that have completely failed. So the first one that I actually completed that people don't really know about is like when I decided to lose weight, it was right around New Year's. And so my first ever like completed legit New Year's resolution was losing weight. And like that's been one that I've been, it's a journey that I'm going to stay on for the rest of my life, but that's something that a lot of people don't know. So that's why I'm always someone that's the same thing. Like New Year's resolutions can be very powerful. I think that you can make changes any day of the year, which is so annoying when people like make a big deal of it because it's like, duh, everyone knows that. But like, it's a special day. Yeah. And so like, just chill out, you know? And so, like, I think that it's a powerful, like, it's like the essence around everybody is like willing to want to better themselves. So it's just easier to like, go and do it, right? So that's why I think New Year's is awesome. So that was the first one. The second one was actually one that I did this year that I completed, was actually going dairy free. So for a long time, I would always I would try to avoid dairy because it would like mess with my skin, mess with my gut. I just, probably slightly lactose intolerant. But I would always if I said I'm just going to eat less dairy, I would still eat a ton of it, right? Like, because I'd be like, oh, well, and I'm still trying. So this year, at the beginning of the year, I said I'm going to cut out dairy. And this whole year, I haven't been perfect. I do what I can, but if I'm like out to eat and they put a little bit of butter on something, and I'm like, yeah, I think that might be butter, but oh well. Like I'm not going to freak out about it, But that's something that I've actually done. One that I did not do this year was I told myself I wanted to read more. And I started the year strong and failed miserably. Like I think I read like 2 or 3 books, and then it just did not go well. So this year, I would say that my New Year's,
how many books did you read last year?
like 2 or 3. That's what I was saying.
Last year, 2017.
Oh, 0.
So you
okay, yeah, but that doesn't. I don't like that. I don't like that's like you can't. Like, well, I accomplished my goal because before it was 0. So I read 2 sentences and I've accomplished it. Like I get what you mean, but I wasn't consistent with it at all, right? So this year I have the same goal, is to read. I was thinking about it today, and I think I would like to try and at least read 1 book a month. And like for some people that might not sound like a lot, but for me, I read slow. So that's a good amount. I actually finally just finished Extreme Ownership, which was awesome. So I'm really glad. The next book I'm going to read is Obstacle is the Way, which is a lot smaller. So that'll be like my first book in January that I read. I'll start it this month, but whatever.
It's a good book.
Yeah, I'm excited to read it because I really like Ryan Holiday. He's like super into like stoicism, which is something that I really like a lot, and it's something that's helped me a ton.
Sam and I both read it last year.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh,
I liked it.
And I read it as an iPad book, and I'm not a fan of those.
You don't?
I've officially established. I've read like a good 20 books on my iPad.
Yeah.
And
I don't like it either.
I've officially. I was reading 7 Habits, and that's a huge book.
Oh, it is.
7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and I mean it's not huge, but it's bigger. And it just felt like it was going on forever as an iPad because you don't see how far you are in the book.
I
like to dog ear it and carry it around.
I don't like to dog ear it. Anyone who's reading a book is gonna hate that you just said that. But I like to put a bookmark in it to preserve the pages. But anyway, yeah, Ryan Holiday, Obstacle of the Way, very good book.
Yeah, so I'm gonna read that next, and then just start from there and see where I go. But I mean, that's something that's like really important to me. And then on top of that, I've talked about this a little bit on my channel, but like journaling, I want to continue doing that. And then one for me, I'm not trying to make this all preachy or anything, but like is to improve my relationship with God and like really make that a focus. And like I've been listening to, he's a preacher. His name is Mike Todd. He's the preacher of Transformation Church, and he has a whole series where he's talking about who's on the throne of your heart, and the whole thing is like God's supposed to be on the throne. If something else is there, you'll be worshiping that thing because we're made to worship, and we're gonna worship no matter what it is. So just focusing on that and like really, because I know for me, I've talked about it a ton, is like struggling with anxiety. Like I haven't felt better in these past few months because of focusing more on my relationship with God. So that's something that's important to me, and that means praying, actually reading the Bible, because for so long I just was like, I know all the stories. I've been going to church my whole life.
It'd be in your backseat.
Yeah, I was in the backseat of my car. So really like focusing on that, because I genuinely think, and it's shown, is that if I focus on that, my other relationships improve. And and I feel like my relationship with myself, my internal dialogue improves as well. So yeah, those are some of my my New Year's resolutions. And it's weird because like I've always been, people have known that I'm Christian and stuff like that on my channel and stuff like that, but I never really talk about it too much because I want to, I'm not trying to be a Christian YouTube channel or whatever. Like I am a YouTuber that makes fitness videos that happens to be Christian. I don't want it to be like all I do is preach,
Yeah.
So I've always felt like you can do that through how you live, and I just feel like I haven't been doing that through I live. Not like I've been a bad person, but just you wouldn't see me and be like, oh, there's something different about the guy. I'd be like, no, that guy's pretty normal.
Yeah.
So those are things that are important to me, and it's still kind of weird to say it because I don't sit here and say I am somebody that knows everything about the Bible, and if someone wants to argue with me about stuff, I'm like, that's not my place. So that's just kind of me sharing my truth and what I'm doing. So yeah.
I like them.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, I love New Year's resolutions. And I think it's good to have a New Year's resolution because it's like a date that, like, say you start your weight loss journey, we can look back and be like, well, I've been losing weight for, almost a year now, because you can have a reference point. It's the first. And that's how I remember how I started CrossFit, because it was January 5th, the first Monday of the new year.
Was there any reason why it was like, I want to start on Monday?
No.
First day of the week.
First day of the
month
week.
of the year, yeah.
So what were
I'm
you
really
doing,
weird about those.
What were you doing the first to the fourth? Just getting hyphy?
Yeah, I was going ham,
Just pouring gravy down your throat, like laying on the ground.
Yeah, pretty much. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I love New Year's resolutions. And a few that I've done in the past was start CrossFit. Okay, I did that. And now I've continued to do that, obviously. I do CrossFit.
Oh, okay, good.
Oh, I'm not wearing a shirt. I am wearing a shirt for people. I forgot this is a podcast.
Everyone's going to go on the YouTube video, but she's not wearing a shirt.
Skirt. But another New Year's resolution I had in the past was to do my bikini show. And I did that the second year I started CrossFit. And I achieved that.
And that's how I met you.
That's how I met you. And then...
Shout out. Shout out to Bikini Shows.
We already know that. You just told that story 5 minutes ago.
But, yeah, I don't know what my New Year's resolutions are going to be. I think I just want the typical ones, like Jean said, like be better with finances, improve more, like workout-wise. Because I think my goal last year was to RX every workout. Like I could walk in this gym and be like, I can RX this workout. And
it wasn't just our gym. It was like
anywhere.
We could like.
I just want to keep up with the big boys, like walk in like, oh, that's RX on the board. Okay, I can do that.
Easy.
And so I think I started working on more movements that I wasn't the best at, so I could do that. And then now I think my New Year's resolution is be like more in my mind, because I'll be like, oh, this is hard. Like I'm just gonna like scale it down. And I'm like, no, like I can do this. Like it's so much more mental CrossFit is, I feel like, than physical. So that's kind of like my New Year's resolution for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely got like, I wrote them down, and I'm kind of frustrated right now that I can't remember them. But one of them is finances. One of them is my faith, obviously, like growing and continually developing that. Another one is just mindset. I think they're just like standard, like look back, take a reflection of how the years went and what did you like, what didn't you like, and then move from there. And I think if that's what you're doing once a year, that's a pretty good marker. One of the things that I definitely am trying to work on is I don't have a bad relationship with food. We've already talked about that. I feel like I'm just your standard person who likes to eat, enjoys enjoys going out, enjoys some burritos, enjoys whatever.
Pizza.
Yeah, I love pizza. I'm gonna have some tonight, but but like I don't have like a struggle with food, but I am realizing food does directly. My relationship with food is changing, whereas I don't believe that food is fuel, and we talked about that. But I am seeing the type of food that I'm eating affecting my training and my working out, and I don't like doing things that are going to sabotage me later. And so when I eat something that I'm in the mood for at that moment,
Pizza.
but I know not pizza.
No, not pizza ever. It would
I would never do that to me.
Well, pizza's not like pizza is like the bottom of the thing that I'll eat. I'll straight up go ham, go to the Mexican shop, order a Pepsi, order a quesadilla, order rolled tacos and a carne asada burrito, and eat all of it.
I've seen it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like
I've done it.
so like it's stuff like that where it's just like so much food, and it's just like it's because like I waited too long to eat.
Yeah, I was gonna say you haven't eaten in too long.
Yeah,
and you're
exactly.
Like, well, I'm really hungry, and I know a burrito isn't gonna be enough, and like rolled tacos are really good, and like quesadilla is super good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so oftentimes it's I didn't plan my day out food wise well, and now I want everything. But it's like that idea of like the immediate satisfaction is directly tainted by what's an hour down the road, 2 hours down the road, 3 hours down the road. Like, how am I going to feel then?
Exactly.
And that is like, that idea is actually like introducing itself in so many different areas of my life that it's almost like a recurring theme. Like we were talking before the podcast, and it's fun to sit on your phone for 30 minutes on Instagram and just kind of scroll and zone out. But then those 30 minutes end, and then you think, what have I done? I've done nothing. Like, in the
Literally
grand
nothing.
scheme of things, like, if my phone wasn't in my hand, I sat down, hunched, for 30 minutes and didn't move. You know what I mean? Like, and obviously it's different because we do have access to the entire world through our phones. So you could be productive doing that, but I wasn't. And so it's like that immediate satisfaction an hour later when I'm still in a dirty house, when I'm still didn't get anything done, when I've now lost valuable time in the day and now I can't get it back. Like, that frustration and that like bumming out is nowhere near that satisfaction as 30 minutes on Instagram.
Yeah. I completely, not to cut you off, but I like completely relate to that because now we're kind of in the same boat that Instagram and all that stuff is technically our job, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I've always used that as almost as an excuse because, I mean, it's unbelievably sad, and I don't even like to admit how much time I spend on my phone. It's ridiculous. Like the screen app thing now that they have on
the screen
iPhones.
time each week.
I legit am on my phone. I think it's like 18 hours out of the week. 18 hours.
Oh, wow.
Right? And I think that's just Instagram.
Yeah,
And
I
so
would, I
the
think you're
screen
more.
time-
Because I think,
I think just Instagram for a week. So I'm literally almost a full day out of my week sitting on just Instagram.
Yeah.
So that's actually another, not to hijack your whole point, but like that's another New Year's resolution of mine is like, I can't, because there are times where I need to be on Instagram if I'm making a post or replying to comments, but a lot of the time it's just me scrolling.
Yeah.
And like doing absolutely nothing, going down a rabbit hole. For some reason, I'm on a meme page and I've been there for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm laughing and showing people.
Yeah.
memes. You know what I mean? So yeah, sorry to hijack your thing.
No,
that's
but
100% one of mine too is to spend less time on my phone.
Because you absolutely can do incredible things on your phone. And I think that's the difference is like you do have access to the entire world with that device. So it's not like it's not like you're sitting down doing nothing, but you can be doing that.
Yeah.
This device isn't all bad. There's so much good that comes out of it,
Yeah.
but there is so much waste that comes out of it as well.
Exactly.
And so just being intentional and like for me in so many areas of my life, like food, fitness, health, all that stuff, it's like even like if Sam and I are hanging out and then it's like I could sit and do nothing, and then in 30 minutes Sam will come and be like, "You didn't do anything?" I'm like, "No, I didn't feel like it." And then like now I have to deal with this like frustrated Sam. Well, you know what I
You
mean?
don't want to mess with frustrated
Banshee.
Sam.
Yeah, exactly. Or I can spend 15 minutes doing whatever, tidying up or doing something special for, you know what I mean? Like something that like is like active and productive. And then you come and you're like, oh, that was so nice. And it's like, it was 15 minutes either way, but the rest of my day, or at least like 10 minutes or something, or whatever, is going to be drastically different.
And I think it's okay to look at your phone, but like if you're constantly like scrolling, setting it down, and like 5 minutes later you're opening it again, you just go straight to Instagram. It's like, well, what? I just looked at it. Like I can be doing something productive. Like give yourself maybe like a time limit. Like I don't need to look at it the next 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe hours from now.
I've tried a couple things.
Be more intentional.
Yeah, I've tried like if I pick up my phone, like to say out loud what I'm gonna do. Like I've tried that. So it's
yeah,
like
I do that too.
like I'm gonna turn a timer on. Boom, timer, phone down. Instead of like grabbing it and being like, oh, what was I doing?
It's ridiculous how many times I've done that.
I do that all the time.
Completely forgot why I picked up my phone. And
Yeah.
then I was on Instagram for 30 minutes.
So like saying what you're doing as you're picking your phone up or before you unlock it, you know, like for me, that'll help. Another one is like making sure, and this is a new one for all three of us because we've all talked about it. Not being on your phone when you're with someone.
That's what I was about to say.
Like it's just so simple. Like be there.
Yeah.
Be in that, like look at their face when they're talking to you so you can read their expressions, so you can see what's really going on instead of like trying to scroll in and be like, what'd you say? What? Huh.
Yeah, like if we go out to eat, like I've been trying to like put my phone in my purse. So it's like not on the like table, you know. It's like, oh, like you're not saying anything. I'm gonna pick up my phone and not look at you.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, and that's how relationships are formed.
Yeah.
Like, it's through those awkward silences when you decide to be like, oh, wasn't your mom in the hospital? Or, you know, or something like that.
Your relationships only form when someone has a really bad injury in the hospital.
Yeah. No, but that does help when you do ask about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like, oh, what do you do for work again? You know, or just something like that where it's like, I'm just choosing random examples.
I'm just saying.
I'm not saying
you should know what Sam does for work.
not these people here, but like other people.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, like I said in a recent video of mine, is like making the person you're talking to feel like the most important person in the world. And there's no way that is happening if you're looking at your phone while you're trying to have a conversation with them. And I mean, it's a hard habit to break. I mean, for me, it is at least. Like I think I've gotten a lot better, especially in the past few weeks, of not being on my phone as much. There's still times like we were literally driving from Starbucks here and John was having a conversation with me. I had absolutely no idea. And then he yelled at me. And I was like, I didn't know you were talking to me. I thought you were talking to somebody else.
No, but you've gotten better.
Because I was
I've
just,
noticed.
thank you. But because I was just literally sitting on my phone, scrolling, doing nothing.
yeah.
But kind of, we really got sidetracked. But I wanted to talk about the point that you brought up about food initially. Because I was thinking earlier today about how unbelievably easy this holiday season was for me regarding food. So like for me, I've gone from like tons of extremes, right? So when I was overweight, like I literally would eat every single thing possible, imaginable on the holidays. I would just gorge myself. So obviously that's not very healthy. But I remember when I was losing weight, and it's specifically when I was losing the bulk of my weight, how terrified I was of holidays and how like it would like literally be on my mind all day. Okay, so we're gonna have dinner at this time. How much should I eat before? Should I eat anything before? What should I eat at dinner? I would ask people what they were bringing so I wouldn't be too tempted. I would like freak out, and so it would consume my whole thoughts. Not even just for that day, right? For like the weeks and stuff prior to that, and that's something it's understandable, especially if you're somebody that's coming from, you know, your background is from being morbidly obese. You're just used to eating everything in the world, basically. That's what I was used to. And then trying to actually be cognizant and trying to, you know, limit things, because then the holidays come up and you're just so used to enjoying food and eating as much as you want. So it's like, okay, how do I find this balance? And I do want to say, I think it's okay if you're having a couple, even if it's like 1 year or a couple years where you're pretty food focused. I think that's just normal, because like going from one extreme to another, that's just how it's going to be. You're not going to go from being morbidly obese to being like, okay, cool, I have a completely healthy relationship with food. And this is something that I've realized recently, because I've tried to help people, and the more and more I've helped people, the more I've realized like people have to go through that. It's just, you have to go through those steps to eventually have that healthy relationship, like which is where I'm at now, because we had like Friendsgiving, not where you guys were there, yeah. We had Friendsgiving. I wasn't stressed out about that. It's Thanksgiving for people that might not know what that is. But then, like for Christmas, we had a dinner and stuff like that, and I like literally wasn't even worried about it. Like I didn't think about it. I was like, okay, I know we're gonna eat, and it was just nice. And like you bringing that up about like your like healthy relationship with food and like working on it, like I really do feel like my relationship with food has gotten a lot better. And it's funny that you talked about how like a lot of people ask me, well, like why do you crave bad food anymore, or like is it hard for you? And like for me, it's literally where you are now. I got there. I mean, it's not like you were like anywhere near where I was, but like I was so like, you know, I ate everything, and then now, like, the reason that I don't go out and eat, like, a huge pizza or, like, a huge, like, greasy meal is because I do think about how am I going to feel after I eat this?
Mm-hmm.
And that feeling, because I know how I'm going to feel, it is enough for me. I'm not saying this might work for everybody, but for me, it's enough to be like, nah, I don't need that. Because I don't want to feel like that. I just don't.
Yeah, and I think, like, food is like the one of the best tools to learn almost any life lesson.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like food is just a tool. But like what I'm learning is delayed satisfaction, right? What I'm learning is that the immediate thing isn't the best thing, and that if I just wait, then that's the best thing. That better feeling great, feeling energized, feeling whatever. I could apply that to finances. For some people, finances is the greatest tool for them. And that immediate purchase isn't the best purchase, but waiting and saving and grabbing something else is going to be the better one. Like, I think food is just a conduit, right? Dang it.
The name of this podcast is The Conduit.
Food is just the passageway in which I am learning this subject and this idea, but like that's honestly like it's not the food thing, because I don't struggle with food, but it's just that's the thing that is
You struggle.
I'm
it's
learning.
Like, that discipline is what.
It's the discipline.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the discipline.
Well, I didn't even think about it until you guys brought it up, but I feel like my relationship with food, like speaking of a nice reference, Christmas time, you know, the holidays, like mine has improved so much because the holidays were going on when I was prepping for our show, and I was like so nervous about everything. And then after that, I would like restrict, and I'd eat like the smallest amount of foods all the time, and then I would binge eat. And it like it was like lasted a couple months, and then finally I got better and better, and then I would still feel guilty if I ate anything bad in quotes. But now I just feel like a normal human being again. Like I know how food works, you know, like I understand it. I can eat a treat if I need to, but it's not like I go crazy because I know, like, oh no, I'm working out early in the morning. I don't want to feel bad, you know, like that's a priority to me. So I feel like it's improved a lot too.
But you've got a very unique relationship with food in the sense that you are a type 1 diabetic.
Yeah, so I'm newly type 1 diabetic. So now I have to carb count. So I already know all about macros. Like I loosely track now, nothing crazy. But I was diagnosed like 3 months ago, and so my insulin to carb ratio I have to do for every meal. So
how has that changed your relationship with food, do you feel? Has it at all, or do you feel like like with your past experience with it, now you're just able to like...
So many people who now know that I have diabetes are like, oh, Sam, like, I didn't get you anything sweet or anything with sugar in it, you know, watching out for you. And I know they're coming from a good place, but it's kind of frustrating because it's like, now that I have this, and I'm going to have it for the rest of my life, I don't want to, like, be restrictive because I know where that led me in the past. So I'm trying to eat as normal as possible, and whatever has worked for me, that's why I want to keep it. So it's like, oh, well, like, you know, if everyone's going out for frozen yogurt, well, I love frozen yogurt. I'm going to go with you, you know? So now I'm just like, okay, when I take my insulin, this is how it's going to affect me. You know, it's a little bit more sugar. My blood sugar is probably going to go a little bit up and then go right back down. So I'm trying to keep it as normal and not restrict anything.
Yeah, I remember when I first heard that you got diabetes, Jean told me, and I just remember being like, what? Because for me, I always think of diabetes as, you know, almost like something that
diabetes?
Diabetes, right? Like I remember I was pre-diabetic. That's the way that the doctor told me when I was in like 11th grade or 10th grade. And so I always relate it to people that are not eating healthy, you're overweight, you, like, for lack of a better term, you kind of do it to yourself, right? It's like your fault, right, in quotes. And so I remember when I heard that you did, I was like, that doesn't make any sense because you're more cognizant than probably any of us as far as, like, making sure you weren't overeating in your car, like, counting all of your stuff. And so I just remember being like, wait, what? That doesn't make any sense. So, like, what was, like, when you first found out, did it even, like, make sense to you? Like...
No. Because I wasn't feeling well for like a couple months. And I kept telling John, I was like, I don't feel good. I don't feel good. And then I was talking to him and one of our friends, and I kept putting like my symptoms into WebMD.
Oh gosh.
And so then I was telling them, I was
You
like,
have the bubonic plague.
Well, the thing is, she self-diagnosed herself.
basically, yeah.
Because you're like, I think I have diabetes. And I'm like, no,
I don't recommend that to
you
anyone.
don't.
Yeah.
And then she'd like look up more symptoms and be like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I have diabetes. And I'd be like, no, you
Yeah,
don't
they'd
have
be like,
diabetes.
oh, you're relatively healthy. You know, it's fine. And I'd be like, oh, yeah, you're right. Like, maybe I don't.
And then I'd be like, you want to go to Disneyland and get ice cream? You'd be like, yeah. And then you'd be like, you don't have diabetes.
Yeah.
Little do you know,
So-
we're wrecking your blood sugar and
I
stuff.
know. I can't even imagine what it was.
Well, I remember that, and at the same time, like when you first found out, you guys were trying intermittent fasting too, right?
Yeah, so we tried for like 2 weeks, and like every day I'd be at work and I would text Jean and I'd be like, it's 10 o'clock. I'd be like, I need to eat something. Like, I can't do this. And I remember
feel
thinking,
terrible. And I remember thinking too, like, what the heck?
like, I'm pretty good at that stuff. Like, you give me a challenge, like, I will do it. And so I was like, no, I need to eat earlier. And I think it's because my blood sugar is going
Yeah,
low.
it makes sense, right? So like that's what's
Yeah.
happening, right? When you're feeling terrible because you haven't eaten in so long, and
Mhm.
so your blood sugar is going really low, right?
Yeah.
And then so you need to eat to kind of spike it. So now basically, like I see you always, you have to kind of like inject yourself with insulin. So what you're pretty much doing is just trying to, in the perfect world, to equal out your blood sugar the whole day, right?
Yeah. So I'm trying to like take my insulin. I take it like through like a pen injection, and I try to do it like 15 to 30 minutes before I eat. And it's kind of like the metaphor is like it's like a tug of war. Like your insulin's on one side, and like the food's on the other, and you just want to keep it kind of level. And different foods react different ways, and I'm trying really hard not to be hard on myself because some days I'll be spiking all over the place, and some days I'm just coasting through. So it's only been 3 months, so it's all literally trial and error every single day.
Yeah, it's super interesting to me. Has it been like, what about for you? Like kind of, I don't want to say dealing with it, but like,
Yeah.
you know, like I'm sure it's taught you a lot, right?
Yeah, it's been really hard. Yeah, I mean, it's just like I'm trying to learn as much as I can too. You know, like
Yeah.
learning as much about diabetes and what she can do, and just like dealing with people who heard something on Instagram and so they know how to cure it, and so you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like dealing with that all the time, every time it's brought up, and so she'll ask me a lot of questions. She's just bouncing things off me, and it's
Mhm.
like I can say one thing. But I'm not the one taking 5 units of insulin. You know what I mean? Like, and 5
Yeah.
is a lot. You know, that's like
yeah.
on
Well, it's
the
a lot
hi-
for me.
yeah, for you. Like, that's on the higher end. And so it's
Yeah.
like when
Everyone's
she's like
different,
she's
so.
like, for this meal, should I take 5 units? And I can say yes or no, but like I'm not the one who, if I take too much insulin, my blood sugar is going to drop. Actually, if I take insulin, my blood sugar will drop. But
Yeah.
like, luckily, my body will correct it. While
Mhm.
yours is like, well, I guess I'll die.
Well,
Sure
this
me.
is the end. This is the end.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but it's really like interesting to me because I remember for a long time, like I've always kind of like recommended like people like maybe you should try intermittent fasting. Like for
Yeah.
me, it's something that's been really helpful. You know, I don't really do it, but I don't eat breakfast. I'll work out in the morning. Like I won't eat until like maybe 12 o'clock. You know, and my last meal was like 10 p.m. So it's over 12 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've always been like, yeah, you should try it out. But now I'm like,
Yeah.
make sure you're not diabetic.
Yeah.
But it's like, make sure. So I'm always like, I'm like super nervous to even tell people to do that because I'm like, I don't know. Because like for you, that was almost the thing that like kind of led you to. Well, I guess it was kind of a good thing.
It was
'cause
like
you-
the 2 weeks before I was diagnosed, and I was feeling my worst during
Yeah.
that time.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it like correlated. It was a conduit.
I don't think that's the right word.
Whatever.
But I mean, it could be.
But
Conduit's a
yeah.
good word.
But speaking with like food wise, it's like I have to count carbs, and so usually I try to eat like a moderate amount of carbs, like enough to keep my workouts feeling good, you know,
Mhm.
feeling good for that. And then sometimes it's like, say we go out to
So, like, basically, the definition of CrossFit is like, what is it? Keep carbs to enough to
Support exercise.
support exercise,
support
but not
body
to gain body fat.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's kind of where you do CrossFit, you do high intensity, so you want to have enough carbs so you feel good for
Yeah.
that. But like that's it.
Yeah. So like a lot of people are like, go keto, like all this stuff, and it's like I'm not changing anything. Like how I eat works for me.
Mm-hmm.
I like moderate carb to keep me sustained during a workout, but it's just hard. Like if we go out, it's been the holidays, you know, you go out to dinner with family and stuff, where it's like, wow, this meal probably has a ton of carbs. Like it's kind of like a mental thing. Like I'm about to eat this. But it's like I never really finish my food, so I have to take as much insulin as much I'm gonna think, like how much I'm gonna eat. So it's just all trial and error. It's
Yeah,
like crazy.
a lot of times she'll be like, all right, I'm gonna take 5 units. I'm like, okay, and then because it's like a very high carb meal, and then she'll be like, oh, I'm full, I can't finish it. I'm like, you have to.
Yeah.
You have to finish your food, or you're gonna drop way low.
Yeah.
When people get diagnosed, is it normal to gain weight or lose weight?
It's very normal to gain weight.
Yeah?
So I've
Why is
gained
that?
about 5 pounds, and I'm trying not let it get to me, which I don't think it has. Too much.
It hasn't.
But
Sam, one second, Sam's crying. We'll be
But
back in 10 minutes.
my New Year's resolution is to lose that 5 pounds. No, I'm kidding. Because when your blood sugar is running high, which everyone who's diagnosed, you're not being treated, so your blood sugar is running high, you're burning like body fat. I'm not sure if I'm saying this 100% correctly, but once you start taking insulin, it's all leveled
It's like
out.
your furnace is hotter. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's
Yeah.
like you're burning a lot.
You're burning more.
Yeah.
So once you start taking insulin, you're getting all leveled out. So then you're not burning that fat really. And then a lot of it too, like in the first couple months, is if I go low, well, now I have to drink a glass of juice. I
And
never
that's-
drink juice.
Yeah, and that's like extra
Oh,
calories.
I have to
Yeah,
eat
that makes
candy.
sense.
I never eat candy. So I'm eating all this stuff to correct lows when I shouldn't be having so many lows, but it's all me trying to figure it out. So just me eating things that I haven't really eaten before in the past.
Mhm.
So I think I'm finally getting it under control and I'm getting used to it. But yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. It like literally is such a different world for me, and I've learned a lot through like because I hang out with them all the time. I'm on the third wheel all the time, so like I'll like see her like checking her blood. She has this little patch thing on her arm.
Yeah.
She just like, it's pretty cool. She just puts her phone up to it and it tells her what her blood sugar is, and then she's like, okay, I have to do this, or like, okay, I'm gonna take my insulin now before we eat. And so it's been a learning experience for me, which I think has made me better, at least more empathetic to people that might have it, because again,
Yeah.
I didn't know. All I knew about diabetes was type 2.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously I knew there was type 1 and it was a thing. I didn't know what it was.
I didn't know
though.
anything about it either, too. So, like, when the doctor called me, they're like, okay, you have diabetes. And I'm like, my heart, like, dropped. Like, what does that mean? And she's like, it's type 1. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, you'll have it for the rest of your life. And I'm like, okay, like, what does this mean? And so now, like, we're going out, like, in San Diego, I'll see people with, like, things on their arm. Like, that's an insulin pump on her arm. She has diabetes. Like, all this stuff. And it's so, like, there's so many people that have it that I just never knew before.
And it's crazy, like Jean brought this up to me, like if you were diagnosed, I don't know, a few hundred years ago, like it was literally a death sentence. It
Yeah.
was like, there's nothing we can do about it, so you're gonna die.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool that now, obviously, it's annoying. You have to, inject yourself multiple times a day, and you have to, monitor it. But at least it's not a death sentence anymore.
Yeah, it's very, very, very manageable.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm thankful for.
Yeah, but that's also the frustrating thing is like it's so manageable,
Mhm.
so it almost like takes a back burner on research.
Yeah,
Because
that
it's
makes
like
sense.
we're like, well, they're living.
Mhm.
Now let's focus on blah blah, and it's like
Yeah.
the goal is to let's like eradicate it. Like let's
Mhm.
get rid of it. And there's a lot of organizations out there that are looking for a cure for type 1 diabetes. But we're just not there yet.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I
then-
remember we went on that 5K walk thing. That was
Mhm.
fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was fun. And then also that's why, most people who are diagnosed are like rushed to the hospital. They can go into like a diabetic coma and stuff because their
Jeez.
blood sugars are running so high for so long, being untreated for so long. And so since I kind of like diagnosed myself
And
via
you're
WebMD,
pretty in tune with like your body and
yeah, I was very, very in tune. I'm like, what's going on? Why is
Mhm.
this happening? The next symptom will happen. Why is this going on? What's happening? So I kind of was treated earlier on than most
Mhm.
people, I feel like. And I like relate that to like working out. It's because I feel like I'm very in tune with my body. And that's why even though exercise is kind of like you got to do trial and error with that too, because exercise can spike it with CrossFit or cardio can lower it. But and like helped me be in tune with my body and stuff.
Well, I think that's really cool that you say that. Like, it's crazy how much fitness and like being healthy can be good for you.
Yeah.
Because if you weren't super in tune with how you felt, like, because I'm the same way. When I was super heavy, I didn't really
Yeah.
like. I always kind of felt bad, I guess.
Yeah.
I just like it's not like I ever. So like I notice when, especially if I'm like super hungry and I know I'm like legit hungry, I can feel it. You know what I mean? Like how my body's performing, how I'm literally like not able to focus on. A lot of times I'll be trying to edit a video and I'll tell myself, you can't eat until you're done editing, because I just get so distracted, right? But then I'll just be like, you know what? No, I need something, and I'll eat a little bit of something, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it feels so much better, and I'm able to finish that. But it's super cool that because you are so into fitness and working out and just general health, you are so in tune with your body that literally helped you, and possibly like helped you from going into that diabetic coma that you were talking about, right? And so like that, I think that's just like a really cool kind of little story of just how fitness can help you just in preventative ways of at least like knowing, oh, I don't feel very good, and then being like, no, this isn't just like I feel kind of sick. It's like this is something going on.
Yeah. And like continuing to work out, like it helps you be more insulin sensitive. So it's not like if I'm taking insulin, I'm still running high. It's like because my body is used to exercise. I exercise today. It like helps my blood sugars in return.
Yeah, and then you were saying like your doctor was like, all right, you have to watch what you eat, and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
And they're like, you have to exercise. Okay.
Yeah. And
You can't skip 2 days of exercise. Okay.
Yeah, and she's like, drink a lot of water, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I already do all of those things.
Yeah, and she's like, okay.
What's
and
next? Yeah.
Yeah, she told me I was doing fantastic.
And then they're like, here's how you count carbs. You're like, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting. You just have like, luckily you're in a good spot to be able to deal with it. But just imagine someone who doesn't do fitness, like, and they get diagnosed with diabetes, and now they have to learn how to count carbs.
Yeah, geez.
And
I
now
can't even imagine.
like that would just, that's just crazy, and that's kind of like that's.
A lot of people.
I would say that's probably the majority of people.
That's probably exactly. But I just wonder like that you thinking about those people kind of has re-sparked a desire to learn and help, right?
Yeah, I just want to like find something that I can do to help all these people. Like even
because for your transition, it was rough, but you kind of knew.
Yeah.
Like
it's only been 3 months, and I feel like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just want to help people.
And so like through finding out that you're diabetic, it's like sparked like a fire in you to want to help other people that might become diabetic, that especially that would not have any of the knowledge that you already had previously, right? Like so it was almost like a blessing in disguise. Like obviously nobody wants to wish that on anybody, but at least you're able to turn it around into something that is positive, right?
A New Year's resolution.
Yeah. But like, and then we've talked about this before. Like you could have the worst thing in the world happen to you, and you can still turn it around and make sure that that doesn't happen to anyone else, or that other people can learn from it, or that X, you know what I mean? Like you could wallow and you could be so mad at God and fate and your pancreas, right? You know what I mean? Like
you stupid pancreas.
Like you could, but what does that do? You know,
it just
like
makes you feel worse.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
like,
there's that saying, I'm probably saying it wrong, but it's like life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it.
Yeah.
And it's so true. Like that's one of the main things in Stoicism, right? Is okay, what can you control? That was something that you couldn't control. That was your body that did that, right?
Yep.
But you can control what you're doing now, which is, obviously learning a lot about it, and then hopefully in the future becoming somebody that can be, a helping hand to somebody that might be going through that has absolutely no idea and is completely lost. And so that's incredibly powerful.
And you're already like posting on Instagram, like today was a high day. I don't know. I couldn't really do anything about it. It was really frustrating. Or I ate this and this is how I reacted. Good to know. And you're kind of showing your journey on Instagram already.
Yeah, because I'm trying to learn as much as I can. Like it's been 3 months, but I'm just trying to be transparent that it's not perfect all the time. And then I've had people like reply to me being like, my daughter has like type 1, like thank you for posting this, she feels the same way, like things like that. So there's such a huge community on Instagram too. So another one reason to be like, it's good to be on your phone.
Yeah,
but in moderation.
Again, that's what I'm saying is there's so much power. Like just think, there are so many people who for generations felt alone. You know what I mean? Like who they're the only person who had this, did this, whatever. And then with the abilities of online, as it connects you to all these people, where it's like maybe you were the only person in your town who liked World of Warcraft. But like go
Was that
online. yeah. No. No, but go online, log on, and oh my gosh, there's hundreds of thousands of people, who are playing this game. And I'm the king of terrible examples, but you know what I'm trying to say is like there are communities. Be proactive. Don't wallow. Act. Move.
Yeah.
Work.
You're not alone.
Exactly.
Now, I have a question, and you might not be the best person to ask, but when it comes to type 1 and type 2, what are like the main, what would you, like, because I don't know, and I'm assuming a bunch of people that would be listening wouldn't know what's the difference between a type 1 diabetic and type 2, and like, for me, I'm curious, like, why are they even the same name?
I don't think they should be the same name. The only thing they have in common is insulin. And so for people type 1, your pancreas basically stops working. It's an autoimmune disease, so like my body is fighting itself. And like think it's beta cells, that's what's produced by your pancreas, and they're just like dead, pretty much. And if I'm saying anything incorrectly,
you're still learning. Yeah,
I'm still learning.
Yeah. So this isn't us trying to give you advice or anything.
Yeah.
Like that.
So basically my pancreas is dead. That's what it is. And then type 2, rip. Type 2 is most likely caused by unhealthy lifestyles, maybe your diet, your sedentary lifestyle, and they often can be reversed or their medication can be lowered, and a lot of them don't have to take insulin through a needle. They can have like a pill.
Okay.
And they don't really have to monitor their blood sugars as much as type 1 because that pill it's keeping them, their food, if they eat like low carb, well, then it's not really spiking as much. But type 1, you can eat whatever you want because you're taking the insulin for that food.
So as I understand it,
Yeah.
I could be wrong too.
Okay.
I'm not.
We're learning.
I'm not the diabetic.
Yeah.
But
The diabetic.
type 2, your pancreas still works as a type 2 diabetic.
Yes, your pancreas still works.
It just can't sustain your lifestyle. Like your pancreas can't work hard. Like if you're sedentary and you're eating terrible, your pancreas can only make so much.
Yeah.
So that's where that type 2 diabetic comes in, is because you are overloading your system with sugars, with carbs, and your body's like, I can't make enough for this.
Yeah.
And then that's where like type 2, which is why it can be reversed, because if you start actively exercising, eating healthy, blah blah blah, it's like now it's like, oh, okay, all right, we got this, boom boom boom. And then that's why like CrossFit will say we cure type 2 diabetes, because what it is they combine their paleo and their exercise together. And then basically what they should be saying is hard work, exercise, and diet cures type 2 diabetes.
Yeah.
But they're just like,
that doesn't sound as good.
yeah, they're like CrossFit cures it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy that there are things that, like, it blows my mind that we can literally have such an effect on our body that almost basically we can break it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's scary. And I remember when I was at my heaviest, because for some reason, I don't know exactly why, but like one of the like warning signs of diabetes is like your extremities start to like get scabbed, and because for some reason the blood flow
blood flow.
Yeah. And so like I remember my feet were getting really scabbed up, and this is when I was at my heaviest, and I remember knowing that was a sign, and this was after I had found out that I was pre-diabetic, whatever that means. This was like after I had graduated high school, right? So in that 3-year period, because I graduated when I was 17, started losing weight when I was 20, but I started noticing my feet were getting really scabbed up, and for me, I was terrified of the doctors. Still don't like going to the doctors, right? And so I literally, in my mind, was I genuinely could have been type 2 diabetic before I started losing weight. Like, I don't know. I didn't go to the doctors for, like, I never went. And so it's just, it's crazy how, like, we have the power to do that to our bodies, to completely wreck it like that.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm so like proactive about, like, you can change things that you feel like you can't. Like, if you can put your body in a position where you become type 2 diabetic, you can take your body out of that position as well. And it all comes down to, like, first believing in yourself that you can actually do it, and that's like one of the most important things. But then just taking the steps that you need to take, however small they might be, like, you can conquer that.
Because those little
for
steps, like, add up, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And type 1 also, too, like, they don't know the cause, and they don't know if there's no cure, too.
Yeah.
Type 1, yeah. But even taking those steps, too, like, if I didn't work out and if I didn't eat relatively healthy, I wouldn't feel good, you know? So even if I can't reverse it or cure it, you just want to feel healthy. being like healthy and your health is the most important thing.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think like it's crazy. It just goes to show like little steps how much they like you're not on your phone like, oh, this is probably hour 17 on Instagram.
Yeah.
You don't think that.
Yeah.
You're thinking this is 5 minutes while I'm in an elevator. That's the longest elevator ride ever.
Yeah.
Like the one at my work.
Yeah. I literally am the king of terrible
You are. You're
examples.
the
You
worst.
are.
Gosh, why are they the first thing that come to my
Good
mind?
thing you're not a host of a podcast.
Oh.
Never mind.
But it's it's just those little moments where you're like, I'm on it, I'm on it, I'm on this, and then you get your screen time report, and you're like,
Yeah.
17
That's
hours.
disgusting.
Yeah,
It's disgusting. I don't like that report.
yeah. But so my Instagram ones are like 8 hours. I don't want to judge you, but like even that, I'm like, I spent a work day on Instagram.
Yeah.
I spent an entire work day on Instagram.
Yeah.
My screen time was down 30%.
Yeah, mine was
Not to
down-
brag.
This week it was down 42%.
Yeah, mine's been down.
42%.
Mine's
We've
been
hung out with you a lot.
Yeah.
Mine's been consistently going down.
Yeah.
I love that they did that. I love that
Yeah.
they added that on there.
I
'cause-
do, but at the same time I don't.
Yeah. But you wouldn't have known.
Yeah, it's
You
true.
wouldn't. You know what I mean? Like, so
There's no amount of like trying to make that okay. What's
Yeah.
the word I'm looking for? Like there's no amount of
justifying.
justifying that I can do for that.
Yeah.
Even if it's my job, even if I mean I don't even, it's not like I have a ton of sponsors that I post on Instagram. I actually hate doing sponsored posts on Instagram. But like even if it was that, like it takes at tops 10 minutes, and you could you can write the caption in notes and not be on Instagram for literally 2 minutes to post a picture.
If
right?
I have a long caption, I do write it in notes because I hate how Instagram doesn't let you see the whole
Oh
thing.
my
It's like that
gosh,
little
yeah.
tiny
Yeah.
little
So
section that you have
annoying,
to
yeah.
scroll through.
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. But yeah, all right, cool, man. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about?
I just want to say, Sam, thank you for being on this podcast.
Yeah.
Thank
thanks
you for
being.
having me.
I think that you are a natural, and we'd love to have you as a co-host again sometime.
Thank you so
Maybe after the podcast, I can get your number.
Oh.
I really hope you already had that. Very weird.
No, she doesn't let me have it. She only lets me see her at CrossFit.
No, that was when we first started talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, don't get me started on when you guys first started dating. Yeah. All right, cool,
times.
man. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to episode 10 of the Work for Change podcast. As always, we forgot to say this at the beginning, so hopefully everyone listened to the very end. If you guys could please give us a 5-star rating on iTunes, anywhere you're listening. If you could, obviously, however high you can rate us, we would love the highest rating possible. If you're on YouTube, hi, by the way. If you could give us a thumbs up, maybe leave a comment. I mean, we're actually able to respond on YouTube, which is nice because obviously, like, there's no comments really on
Leave me a comment.
on iTunes. Yeah, talk about how pretty Sam is.
Oh.
Also, before we started the podcast, we went to Starbucks and someone complimented my hat. So,
Oh my gosh.
so
Don't
if you're
compliment his
watching on YouTube
Don't
and you like this
compliment.
hat,
Nope.
shout out.
He just got it yesterday, and it's all he's talked
It's
about.
all he's talked about for the past 24 hours.
Yeah, it was really hard not to bring it up during this podcast.
You're just like heads blowing off. Like,
Yeah. Please talk about my hat. Talk about my hat.
Talk about the color of my hat, something, so I can bring it up. Speaking of green, have you
Yeah.
seen my hat? Awesome. All right. Well, thanks again. And you have anything else you want to say?
Nope. Talk to you next week.
Peace.
Peace.